Hello everybody, welcome back to another Roblox Studio tutorial. As you can see from what I'm standing on and judging by the title, you may already know that I'm going to be showing you how to create realistic ice for your Roblox game just by using terrain and parts. So let's jump right into it and make this quick. So right before I get into this, I want to let you guys know that you're going to need basic terrain skills and basic part skills. Luckily, I have videos on both of those. One of my first ones is just the basics on how to work with parts, change material, look at their properties, stuff like this. And I also have a terrain video. I'll leave a link in the description to both of those videos. You can go check them out if you don't know how to work with terrain or you don't know how to work with parts. So now that I've cleared that out of the way, let's make some ice. So first thing you're going to want to do is make sure your terrain editor is open. Once you have that open, you're going to go to the edit tab on the terrain editor. You're going to click on sea level because this generates only water. If you use the generate tool, it's going to generate terrain under your water, and you might not want that. It's completely up to you though. You can generate a biome of just completely... You can generate a biome that's just completely water if you want, but that's up to you. I'm going to make my ice platform fairly small. Now that I have the boundaries and position and size set, I'm going to go ahead and press create, and this is going to generate my water. Now I've played around with the water before I made this video, so it already looks frozen and stuff. I'm going to go over it real quick and I'll set it back to the default settings. So now that I have the water looking like its default settings, we're going to go ahead and edit this to make it look like it's frozen. And to do this, you're going to have to locate terrain in the workspace, and we're going to access its properties. Some of the first ones we're going to notice are watercolor, its reflectance, etc. So what we're going to do to make it look like ice is we're going to basically freeze it, or you can make it really slow, it's up to you, but I'm going to set it to 0, and this is going to stop the water in its position. And to make it flat like ice, I'm going to go ahead and set the wave size to 0 as well. And you can change the reflectancy to whatever you want, but ice is kind of dull, so I'm going to leave it like 0.3, 0.4, somewhere in between there. Or once again, you can change it to whatever you want. I'm also going to change the color to make it more light, look more whitish and snowy, because that's how ice looks in the winter. And then after that, it'll start to look more like ice. But that isn't all, because we don't have the ability to make it solid because it's water. So for example, if I press play here, I load into the game, I'm still gonna fall right through the water. It doesn't act like ice yet, so we're gonna have to do something. Before we go any further, I'd like to also add a quick tip regarding water transparency. When you're in studio mode and you're not in play mode where your character is actually loaded in, it's not going to recognize your graphic settings, so you're not going to actually visibly see the transparency changing. So to see this happening, you're going to have to press play here and actually test so it loads your graphic settings that you have set, and then you'll be able to visibly see the changes. If you have like a blank or empty bottom, when you see through it and you're changing your transparency, it's going to see through all the way, and it's going to look into the skybox, and you're not going to see the transparency changing. It does this weird visual effect, I guess you could call it. To fix that though, you can add a part, make sure that's anchored wherever it is. It's probably, yep, it's up there. I'm going to drag it down here. We're going to put it right under here. You can change it to whatever material you want, so it's not too big. We're going to stretch it across all the way, and then when we test, we're going to be able to see the changes. I'm just going to make this like a, I don't know, a sand, because usually at the bottom of water there's sand or mud. So now if I were to test, you'd be able to see the change as you change the transparency. One other thing to add is that when you're in test mode, you can actually access the workspace, go to your terrain, and pretty much with live feedback you can see the transparency of the water changing, as you can see here. So if I make it super transparent, and look, the part is working like it should be, and I can see transparency changes taking place. Finally, or last but not least, we have the ice to top off on the terrain, so we can actually walk on it and not fall through the terrain. We're going to set our material and color to whatever we want. We can change that later as well. Going to load in the part, make sure that's anchored first, drag this down, and we're going to leave it sit right above the water. And now we're also going to make this slightly transparent so we can see the effects of the terrain. And then we're going to drag this to cover the entirety of our water generation. And now I'm going to make this a little bit lighter, just a tad bit lighter, keep it slightly blue, just make it more tinted. And there you have it. that is how you make realistic ice in Roblox. So now if we go play here, we should be able to see how it looks. And I think that looks pretty good, just like what I showed you guys at the beginning of the video. But that's not really all. You can always change it for yourself and to what you like. So I've seen people use foil, but the terrain already sort of looks like foil, so it's kind of unnecessary and really camouflages the terrain. So that's why I just like to cap it off with ice, so it looks more like ice than anything. But you can do whatever you want. I hope you guys learned something new in this video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. Share the video with others. They might want to know how to make ice as well. Once again, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.